Hi, my name's Steve. Welcome aboard my narrowboat home, Moorland Rose. Please join me as I take a slow boat through Britain. In my last vlog, I managed to leave Oxford, having been held up by a shortage of water in the canal. Travelling with Chuggabug, we found this lovely isolated mooring before Lower Hayford, and stayed a few nights. It has been fantastic to be surrounded by trees and the sounds of nature. But we both need to top up with water and provisions, so I untied Chuggabug and they set off, with me following behind. Yeah, talk to you in a bit. As we shall both be using the water point, I let Gary get well on his way before setting off after him. We have seen the occasional dog walker on this section, but other than that, there have been very few people on the towpath. With Gary and Nicky well ahead of me, I have to work the locks by myself. It is no hardship. I have done it plenty of times in the past. It is funny how you find yourself hoping to see a boat approaching as you leave the lock, to save having to stop and close the gates. You could have been 10 minutes earlier. A guy from this dayboat went back to open up the gate he had just closed. See, dayboat skippers aren't all bad. There is usually something to see while you're waiting for a lock to fill. This line of boats marks the start of the moorings up to the water point at Lower Hayford. I was hoping to have a chat with the skipper of this boat. S.E. Barlow was a distant cousin of mine from the 1900s. Chuggabug has finished at the water point, so he will reverse onto the moorings behind me for tonight. I moved forward the following morning to top up my water tank, while Chuggabug carried on. I am sorry about the hazy video. It appears something had smeared the lens. Chuggabug had led the way so that Nicky could have this lift bridge open for me. The front pin of the boat in front had been pulled out, and the boat had drifted across, blocking the canal. I very gently pull up to it and nudge it back across to the towpath. I tie up just after to go back and retie the wayward boat. Gary and Nicky carry on to the next lock around the corner. When I have finished, Chuggabug is through the next lock, and Nicky has it ready for me. After all the excitement, it's time to moor up for the night and treat ourselves to a pint or two at the local pub, the Barley Mow. What idiot put the pub at the top of a steep hill though? Nikki had also taken us on a short walk across the fields to Steeple Aston as part of her children's homeschooling. She forgot to mention that it was about 10 fields and 3 steep hills each way. We needed an extra day on this mooring to recover before carrying on. Nikki and I had agreed that our next mooring should be one of our favourites at Somerton Meadow. So I set off while Nikki got her crew out of bed. I love this mooring, and it is fortunate that there's plenty of space for moorland rose and chuggabug.
Hello.
Canal and River Trust have advised via their website that the continued dry weather has meant progress beyond Ainhoe is not yet possible. Nutmeg enjoys this mooring as much as I do, so it's no hardship to spend a few extra nights here. Again, the need for water and supplies means I have to move on. If you have watched my previous vlogs, you may remember that the gremlins at this lock have it in for me, having gotten me stuck in the bottom gate on 2 previous occasions. This time, the gremlins had enlisted the help of 2 swans, who refused to leave the lock chamber no matter how hard I tried to persuade them. Even with the help of Nikki and Lily, there was no way they were going to leave. With no other option, I very carefully took Moorland Rose into the lock, leaving as much room in front as I could. Cautiously, Nikki and Lily opened the top paddles to slowly raise the level, while I used the engine to make sure Moorland Rose didn't crush the swans. Having eventually filled the lock, the swans jumped out, without so much as a thanks for the lift. I'll stop and help Chuggabug through, letting the swans paddle merrily on their way. It seems the swans were getting above the lock for their breakfast. I'm sure those gremlins had told them to wait in the lock until I came along. Some help from this kind boater who opened the lift bridge for me.
Thanks very much.
No bother. You can't leave it open because you've got to leave the key in to bring it down. We've gone down to do the Elson and that.
All right, yeah. Right, there is one behind me.
Here's Remembrance, Sean's boat. He made it to Ainhoe to get some work done. So, the gremlins of Somerton Deep Lock had to enlist the help of a couple of swans to keep their record of hindering me at their lock. But slowly did it, and I got through with no swans being injured in the process. Drought conditions means I'm going to be held up here for a while. But join me next Thursday when I'm again given a window to move on. Until then, stay safe. See you soon.